Alright, this last recent month in my dividend portfolio has been the most active month of my investing journey so far. It's also been the month of selling out of the most positions so far in the portfolio and buying up new positions. It's been the most aggressive month of buying with some giant dividend payments as well, and it's been a very fun month during the portfolio. As the stock market has crashed as of recently, it's been an amazing time for me to swallow up some companies that I've been looking to add to for a while. So as per usual, every single month on this channel, I'll be sharing my buys, sells, dividends received, what I've learned, and how I've grown as an investor over the last month. I also apologize for the lack of uploads as of recently. I'll be sharing why at the end of the video. Also want to take a moment to thank my channel members Jacob, Redwood, and SoFi Boy Major Speed. Thank you all so much for it. Takes a lot of pressure off me as a creator. Get access to a bunch of exclusive episodes from there, and my undivided love and attention. On to the video.
Hello, I like money.
Alright, so in terms of portfolio value, we are actually up from last month by about like $100, so it's nice to see, but some certain core holdings have definitely gone down since then. It's been a very volatile month, but some of the defensive positions that I've actually been looking to get out of recently have gone up in price as more people fear that we're going into a recession. Honestly, as an investor, I would love to go into a recession. I could just buy up companies for a nice 3-4 years while I grind in college. Currently, my cash supply has been dwindling recently, and you're going to see why during the buy segment, because I bought the most amount of stocks that I've ever bought so far this month. Currently, my cash supply is $2,850, and that's about 10% of the portfolio. I still have some money in other accounts that I really haven't transferred over yet, so I'm not that worried in terms of that. Performance-wise speaking, nothing's really changed as well. It's kind of still ass, I'm going to be honest. I'm currently looking at a 13.95 a total return in the portfolio and an 11.7% annualized return. Compared to the S&P 500 and the crazy year that has had recently, we're underperformed by a wide margin. But I'm really not that worried because the S&P 500 has had a really good return as of the last few years. I'm still happy with an 11.71 annualized rate of return, and that's over 4 years, so I think I'm doing alright. By every metric in the book, looking at big tech and more specifically Nvidia, which has been absolutely carrying the S&P 500, it's overvalued, and I'm not going to debate that whatsoever. I think over the long term, I'm going to have a really respectable total return. Also important to mention that the Schwab TD Ameritrade transfer went through about a year and a half ago, and it doesn't properly have all my averages in for my company, so that rate of return is definitely flawed, but I'm definitely still underperforming the S&P 500 regardless. It's probably not as bad as it shows though on the chart. Alright, so for the month of July, it was the highest month of dividends for the month. Obviously, that July payout cycle of companies, and it was a really nice addition to the portfolio, I'll be honest. Over the last year, I've definitely started viewing dividends differently. I've stopped looking at them as free money, and more looking at them as a supplement to my total return over the long term. I think the day that I stopped focusing on dividends is really a core part of my investment thesis as a company. It's the day I really have grown the most as an investor. It's like if you invested $1 into a company, would you rather have $10 back or $5, but you get paid in a different way? That's essentially what a dividend is. It's a big trap to underperform and lose money over the long term, but still, I do love my dividends. If you're new to the channel, essentially what I want to do is in maybe like 5-10 years, start looking at my situation, maybe start using the dividends, but I'm most likely at all costs, I'm going to be reinvesting these dividends back into the equities. I like building up my positions over time through automatic dividend reinvestment. It's appealing for me. Start off the month, something that typically doesn't happen in July. I got an SHD dividend, $21.74 from them, a record dividend from SHD. It was a supplemental dividend they paid out. Nice little addition. Then I got my last ever dividend from Nike, which is a company that I sold out of last month, 81 cents. Thank you, no thank you. Then I got a whopping 32 cents from SHG. That's my first ever SHG dividend. I guess I'll take it. Reinvested those two back in SHD and SHG. Next, I got my largest ever dividend from Vici Properties, $28.92. It's a pretty big dividend, one of the largest that I've ever got so far. I was happy enough to reinvest that back into a full share of Vici at $27.91, which has paid off very nice so far since Vici has been climbing up in share price back into the 30s. But that was my largest ever dividend on record, and I'm very happy that Vici paid it out, so thank you, Vici. Next, an unexpected large dividend. You know, they kind of sneak up on you, and Altria paid out a really nice $13.95 dividend. This company's also been going up in value as of recently in the last month. I said I would consider starting to trim my Altria position around the $55 mark, and I stand by that. But of course, if opportunity cost intervenes, maybe a certain company drops in their 5 or 10%, I may have to sell out a little early. But still, the dividend snowball effect is definitely going to play with Altria here with their 4% hike they pretty much do every year, and the near 9 to 10% yield they have. Next, I got $4.50 from Realty Not Reality Income, a company that was absolutely featured in the buys and sells transaction. I'm not going to share which one I did yet. Next, I got my semi-annual dividend from Disney, $2.48 from them. Nice to see. Second ever dividend I've ever got from Disney, so nice to see. And I reinvested it back at a really appealing price at $90. Then, of course, I got a whopping $1.42 from Schwab through interest, so thanks, I guess. And this is my dividend income over the last 2 years, so I guess it's nice to see grow over time. But now on to the buys and sell segment, and you're going to see my dividend income may be stagnant for a while, guys, because I sold out of some high-yield companies. But first, alright, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, the Delta app by eToro. Now, you guys know I've been partnered with Delta for a little bit here now on the channel, but they have an exciting new update to their app. From behind the scenes testing and me personally using the app myself, I can say that this is definitely an upgrade from the previous version. The interface is definitely a lot cleaner, and it makes it even more convenient for me to see when my favorite stocks are up or down for the day. It's the best kind of adrenaline rush, and the adrenaline rush that you can get completely for free, and they also have the option to track crypto and NFTs if that's the kind of stuff that you're into. They also have a new Discord community as well where you can get access to new features before anybody else. Now, since Starbucks is the only company that I'm majorly tracking in this app, it even gave me a personal recommendation and a bit of a warning that my portfolio is heavily consolidated into consumer discretionary. This is so sick, and if you're a beginner investor, it can definitely maybe open your eyes to something you haven't been seeing before. Thank you once again so much to Delta. You can download it on iOS or Android, the link's in the description. Thank you, Delta, and on to the video. Alright, so August has already been a really active month for me, and even like the first 1 to 2 days, and I expect it to be a continued pretty active month in terms of the portfolio. But July was by far the most active month in terms of buys and sells, so let's get into it. Let's just say we had some money to invest and some money to play with, and I saw some really good businesses at some attractive valuations. So to start the month off, put $50 into Visa at $262. Visa is a core position on the portfolio. I'm going to just say it very blatantly, around 11% so far. Next, I put $25 into Disney at $97. I bought 3 shares of SHG, another position I'm looking to build up at $101. SHG, I want to make it 15% of the portfolio, and SHD, 10% of the portfolio. So a little bit of a 25% combination there. I sold my remaining shares of Nexair Energy at a 14% loss, which is only $26 and $160 cash. Don't know why I was continuing holding on to the company. It wouldn't make sense, even if they had a really nice recovery. So I sold out of it there. I put that money into Vici at $27.68. I put $60 in S&P Global at $449. Thank you, Resi, for edging me on to buy it. I started a new position. I bought 130 shares of High Tide at $2.02. High Tide is a small cap cannabis company. We talked about this on the Cash Flow Kings High Tide Roundtable. Highly suggest you check it out, but I was convinced enough to start a very small speculative position in it. But there's a very real long-term thesis around the company. They're producing cash flows right now. It's a retailer, so it's kind of different from a traditional cannabis company you'd be investing in. Raj Grover, the CEO, is an absolute genius, but it's absolutely a long-term investment, and it's going to be the most volatile position in the portfolio by far. So I started up a small position, and it's only about 1% of the portfolio, and I intend to keep it there. Then I put $85 into Starbucks, one of those orders at $75, and one of those orders at $73. $35 in McDonald's at $244. That was around the bottom, so I got in a really good price there. I put $150 into Visa at $262. I think that's an amazing company, fair price. $35 into Starbucks at $72.61. I started trimming out of my Realty Income at a 3% loss at $55. I see a real change to Realty Income's business right now, and I think REITs are going up, and I think it's a decent time to get out of the company, so that's what I've been doing recently this month. Then I bought 2 shares of SHG at $103. I sold out of my Waste Management at a 50% gain. Now, Waste Management is an awesome business. Trash is never going anywhere. But the valuation just did not make sense with the growth that was aligned for it. There's only so much growth that a trash company can have, and it did not deserve to be trading at those valuations, no matter how recession-proof or whatever it is. I'd be interested, but it has to be at the right price, and I think I can do a lot better than Waste Management, and I took some really nice gains. So I bought 1 share of Visa at $261. I added to my TKO position on the day that it was down 5% at $107. I built up TKO. I have a lot more conviction in the company, and I think long term the 2 brands, UFC and WWE, are in really good hands. Then I bought 2 shares of SHG at $102 and $101. Now, this is big. I sold a 7.0629 shares of Abby at a 37% gain. I got $1,300 in capital to play with. Now, Ryan, AbbVie is a really strong company. Its cash flows have been growing. Why would you sell? And I made a video on it, but essentially it's a circle of competency. I did not fully understand the business, and I didn't feel right owning the company. It was one of the largest companies in the portfolio, and I figured I can get out at a really solid day when it was up 4% at a 37% gain, not including dividends. AbbVie's a strong business, but I simply don't have the time to be keeping up with its business, its pipeline, and all that stuff, and I didn't feel that I understood it, and it was actually one of the least companies in terms of ranking, in terms of the circle of competency in the portfolio. He had to be honest with my one here, and it's tough to sell out because I'm going to be losing about $50 in dividend income. So where did I put that money? I bought 2 more shares of Disney at $96.87. Now with Disney, I'm very convicted in them again. They're estimated to produce $7.5 billion in free cash flows here. The parks business is booming. I see a very serious uptrend back in Marvel again. The comeback, Robert Downey Jr. is back. The Deadpool and Wolverine is doing absolutely amazing. Inside Out 2 did amazing. Moana 2 is projected to do amazing. I'm very bullish on this company right now, and I've been adding pretty heavily. Then I started another new position. I bought 2 shares of Amazon at $187. Amazon is such a strong business. I think out of the Mag 7, it's the most attractive in terms of valuation. Shout out to Quality Investing with Arya because he kind of convinced me to buy this company. Amazon's cloud business is absolutely impeccable. With that, AWS is going to grow and it's not going anywhere. I think over the next 5 years, we're going to eventually see an explosion in free cash flow once CapEx really slows down, and I'm very bullish on this company. Then I bought 1 more share of Disney at $90.72, really good price there. I bought 3 shares of SHG at $98.90. I put $150 back into Visa at $255 after earnings. I think there was an overreaction sell-off there. Added more Amazon at $182. Sold some more Realty Income at $58. Good price there. I put that money from Realty Income into Visa at $256. An absolute upgrade there. Put $125 into Disney at $92. And lastly, about 1 share of SHG at $96.99. And this trend of continuing to buy and sell out of some companies in the portfolio has continued into August. So make sure to subscribe and turn on post notifications for August portfolio update. We've had a very active month for the portfolio, and I think I absolutely improved the quality of the portfolio. I also want to apologize for the lack of uploads recently. I've definitely been in a creative slump in terms of YouTube, and I'm kind of hitting to the point where it feels like I'm just slaving away some videos to make, the extra $100 a month or whatever. And it's really just not worth my time at the end of the day, and I've just found myself being very unmotivated. I'll be honest, a little lazy with it, but it just hasn't been hitting the same in terms of how fun it's been recently. I've also been dealing with some issues outside of YouTube, but life's good at the end of the day. I really can't complain. So thank you all so much for tuning in. I hope you guys appreciate the update. Let me know how your portfolios are doing in the comment section. I'm curious to hear. Smash the like button, subscribe, and do Dividend Stocks Drugs. Have a good one.